What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. What do invisible players, unrendered buildings, and endless snow skins have in common? Well, if you're playing our latest obsession, you know exactly how all these things fit together. That's right, once again, it's time to talk Fortnite, as if we needed another reason. However, if you do play Fortnite on Switch, you know you get some great bonus content. Whether you call them glitches or hitches, Fortnite Switch has some serious problems. There is a lot at the end of Tomato Town Bridge, though, a joint effort between Epic and Nintendo. Will this new effort make us less salty and a little less tilted, or will we see another greasy mess? Stay tuned as we grapple with all the latest Fortnite news.
Wow, that's something else there. You got every pun possible in there.
I do what I can.
By the way, the Tomato Town Bridge, we're talking about the one with the tunnel, not the wooden one.
That's right. If you don't know what Tomato Town Bridge is, play more Fortnite.
Yeah, it's Tomato Town.
Yeah, I apparently joined the wrong thing. I thought this was a Nintendo podcast.
Kind of.
Well, it kind of is.
It used to be.
It used to be about Nintendo, but now it's about Fortnite.
Fortnite exclusively.
Well, I think it's finally time that Epic has at least commented somewhat on the problems that exist on the Switch that do not seem to exist elsewhere. I have a couple of quotes from them, and they don't really call them glitches, but they call them hitches. And I'm pretty sure this is maybe a word they just made up. I don't know. I hadn't heard it prior to them starting to say
I've
it.
heard of people say, like, what's the hitch? What's the hang up? I mean, I think that's what they're saying is something tells me the verbiage of the word glitch means there's an inherent problem with the programming and they don't want to admit that they've done something wrong. So maybe they think like this sounds less serious or something. I mean, it's more of an annoyance to me, but we're also not high level players. Or at least I'm not.
Well, it's just the same level of annoyance as it is with any other game where you have issues. Like, give some examples of what we're talking about. Like, you'll be in the zone and you'll fly in, and then like the stuff isn't rendered, or everything's really fuzzy, or the player you're shooting suddenly disappears, or you get killed by a player that is not there at all until after you're dead, and then you see them run by.
Yeah. Or like that. Yeah. I had one where Jason and I were playing last week, I think, where I was like, I'm being shot and I don't know from where. And then after I died, I just see two shotguns floating in the air, running around grabbing all my crap. The players were invisible, but their guns were not. I was like, oh, that's why I didn't see them. They were outside the house. And I would have had to have looked for floating shotguns instead of people. Um, but the buildings one is horrible. It's like you'll drop on a building, and sometimes you got to wait like 10 or 20 seconds before you can chop anything in the building or pick up anything in the building because you have to wait for the building to finish rendering. It's just like a big lump of, I don't know.
It looks
Now,
like
how much of that can you blame on the Switch, admittedly being an underpowered console, though?
Well, I think that is part of it is the way that they tried to optimize it, but people have been noticing that it's getting worse with every
yeah.
single update.
Uh,
Um, and then Epic has basically now been like, oh, what you guys are saying is correct. It has been getting worse with each update, and now we've identified what's been causing it and why it's getting worse every time we do another update. Um, so,
Yeah,
which I think is where Jason was going with it.
that's right. And they are promising that when patch 5.40 comes out, this should resolve a lot of this. They did talk about one other thing that wasn't so much of a hitch, and I haven't experienced this, but it was issues with loading performance degrading over subsequent patches, which is their official line. I haven't noticed anything about the loading. Have you? Have you either of you like being exceptionally slow or getting slower?
I don't know. Does it just mean like loading into a match or something?
I don't know. It just said
Because
loading performance.
because
That's
I've noticed
well,
like one thing I've noticed is, and it just seems to be with me and not with you, is like in the pre-match thing. I very rarely am ever at that area where you're waiting for the bus to take off. It just usually goes from the
You're
load
loading the
screen
whole
to
time.
it goes
Yeah.
from a load screen to I'm on the bus, um, which I don't have a problem with necessarily.
But I remember when we first started playing, we were on that island for what seemed like an
Yeah,
eternity because everybody was there dancing and you'd like walk
sure.
around and see what everybody was wearing.
Yeah. But I mean, I've noticed there's been times where you're like, okay, it looks like the map goes from here to here, and to me, I'm still waiting for it to load,
Hmm.
and I don't know if that's because I'm docked or who knows.
Yeah. And the work, they said, oh, we're providing a workaround for this. And I don't think this is anything that any of us are doing, but it says if you have the game on the SD card, to move it over to the Switch
Yeah, to the
itself.
system. Which I did that with Rocket League when I was having so many errors with Rocket League, because I was like, well, maybe it's having trouble reading it from the SD card as fast, so maybe I'll move it to the Switch so that it has less to process. So that would make sense, I guess. Fortnite, I think, is on my SD, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Mine
was
is on
going
the
to try
system.
moving it. I should probably move it to my system just to.
Yeah. If
I could
nothing
do that
else,
right now.
just to experiment to see if you get anything different.
Yeah, yeah, just to see if it makes any difference. It would make sense that it takes longer to grab something off the SD and run it through. I just don't know if you can. I don't remember if I don't think Nintendo was smart enough to make it possible to copy from the SD to the system. I think you actually have
No.
to delete it and re-download it onto the system.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Yeah, I believe that's what they said in their post. That was what you had to do. But this is a comment further on this. I noticed like the problems that you have and the problems that I have don't always match up. Like I could see the people that you couldn't see, and
Right.
there's times like with the no skins, I have probably the biggest hitch or glitch that I have is that all the characters are the same no skin, and then you or Max will comment, "You just got killed by a bunny," or "That there goes a bunny rabbit," or "There goes a merman," or "There goes a pink bear," and it'll all be just the same no skin. So
Right. Yeah. Which I don't think I've noticed it, but I might not pay attention to that either.
well, I've just noticed it because it'll be like you'll be standing in one place, and there'll be like 8 other players there, and they're all identical. And I know when we were playing as no skins, I don't ever recall that happening. Not very often were we all the same no skin, even among the four of us. So
Yeah.
it's just odd.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not that attentive. I just see no skins.
Well,
So I might not have ever been like, hey, you know what? They are all the same. But I know I've had that thing happen too, where Max is like, you got killed by somebody with this skin. And I'm like, I didn't see that skin.
um, yeah, it's even to the point sometimes where we'll make a recording to post to Twitter just so we can
To show
see.
the other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I'm not crazy.
right, right. But I mean, the ones that are frustrating is when you're trying to shoot someone, and I don't know if this is related to this only because I've seen other people from other consoles complain about something similar, like you're shooting at someone and it just misses, and it should have been hit. So I don't know if this is part of that
Yeah.
or not. This
Could just be bad playing too.
it
Well, and also bear in mind they keep changing. I do know that they've changed the way accuracy works in the game. There's a certain level of
Yeah.
randomness built into your shots, and like the first shot's usually more
Yeah.
accurate and that
First
kind of stuff.
shot accuracy. There's
Yeah, so I
bloom.
know it was broken for a while, and it was like they keep tweaking it, and people have been complaining. I don't know what the state is now. I just know a couple months ago I kept reading about that.
Yeah.
like they've for us at least I think they've ruined SMGs because I find that if I go after someone with an SMG 9 times out of 10, I cannot hit them. And I don't think that's necessarily a glitch. I just think that that's the way they've set the accuracy somehow.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I hope it does bring some improvements. It would be nice. And they are saying they're partnering with Nintendo, so that makes you wonder Is it just Nintendo's got such weird stuff that they need someone to help them cipher through all that, or is it something on Nintendo's end that can be fixed? I don't know.
They're probably working with Nintendo for the optimization. Like that's
Right.
probably the way the system works. Yeah, it's probably having something to do with how it's or why it's doing what it's doing. So they're
And that
probably
is,
like, "Hey, Nintendo, tell us why isn't this working the way we think it should?"
and this is the patch due out Friday, right?
I believe it's coming Thursday now. Thursday, and then so when this comes out, that patch should be live or almost live, and then they're going to do this limited high stakes getaway thing
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday, and then Friday is when the challenges come out.
Okay. Yeah,
But hopefully, all these implementations should come out on Thursday.
they have been changing that around lately. I don't know if it has anything to do with them working on stuff or what. They haven't really said, but I know we were all eager to get our week 7 skin, and they changed it to like Thursday. And then there's even been stuff where the Switch version is delayed past other platforms. So we'll see.
Yeah, it was weird that they did that, and that it seems like last week they uploaded the patch on Thursday supposedly to prevent people from mining the skin early,
Mm-hmm.
but they then moved the challenges to Friday, so then people still mined it on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like now people have it a day early instead of 2 days early. So whatever.
And we should talk about too, not all is glum in the world of Fortnite. We have had some pretty good improvements lately in our personal journey through Fortnite. I know both Mo and myself are at tier 100 now and just grinding levels for no reason, apparently, but we still play.
It's called fun.
It's oh,
We're having fun, aren't we?
are
We no longer have a reason to wake up and check our daily, but I still do.
yeah. But it is nice at night where it's like, well, I'm kind of tired at night. I'm thinking I'm going to go to bed. I don't feel the need to stay up and grind a little longer because I'm worried the season will end before I get that level 100
Yeah.
or tier 100 rather.
I've been looking at my Switch this whole time trying to figure out what I did to get Rocket League onto my system and how to make Fortnite do that. I'm pretty sure I have to remove my SD card and then download it, or else it'll automatically go to my SD card.
Yeah, you do.
Boy, Nintendo's got some great infrastructure.
That's right.
So I'll be trying that out.
You'll have to give us an update as it goes down. And the other thing going on in Fortnite, we are getting Grappling Hook this week in limited time getaway event, which comes with challenges and unlockable items. And I don't know if we've mentioned this or not, but have we talked about the cube at all that's been rolling around?
I think we might have brought it up, but it's been one of those things week to week it's just like this is this season's rocket launch basically is a cube that moves around.
And
you can track the cube.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with it or not been keeping up on the latest Fortnite news, the giant purple cube, you can attack it and it will attack you back, and you can even be eliminated by it, and it comes up as like a little blurred square when it says what eliminated you. And it's left 2 ruins so far, or is it 3? Just 2, right?
I think it's in the process right now of dropping its 3rd one in between like Salty Springs and the Dusty Divot. So by the time this comes out, likely there will be a 3rd rune, and it'll be moving to wherever it's moving. But,
and at these ruins, you have like a low gravity situation. It creates like a little dome of effect around it, and you can jump higher and things like that. People play there during the whole match when they should be doing other things, but it's still fun.
Yeah, I had a match today where it came down to the zone being in that low gravity portion over by the divot. So
Nice.
that was an experience of just
Trying to shoot somebody as they fly through the air. You think, oh, I can get the timing right on that. I find it's near impossible. And as we mentioned, talking about timing, it did have a regular schedule for a long time. I think it was an hour and 43 minutes. And we did time it out and go into playgrounds and watch it. You can watch it like roll over one space. And we did watch that. And I think it's down to something like 40 minutes now. It turns again.
Yeah, I think it's as the time seems to be getting shorter. Like I said, I hope it turns into the GameCube intro load up screen.
That would be
It's like
brilliant.
and you're just dodging it, trying not to get run over by the thing. That would be pretty awesome.
Hopefully we'll find out more in the coming weeks, and it'll be it's interesting. It's fun to see something changing on the map every day. It's a really nice touch.
What is the Cube's master plan?
Does it have anything to do with the Enforcer?
It might. There's rumors the Dusty Divot's going to be changing. People are always saying that the Tilted Towers is either going to be destroyed or might just be getting a new building. It's either being destroyed or added to, one or the other.
I don't know if it's destroyed. Where would everyone go? I don't know.
The divot.
The divot. We go at the divot. But there is some concrete construction there. There's little trucks that have been there, I think, most of the season, and they're like hauling materials. And you've seen them move around the divot, and they do move ever so often. And there's a new building going up, or a parking area, or something they're making, and they're repairing the buildings outside of the divot, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, they're moving stuff around. As I'm moving stuff around, I've just now noticed, this is way off topic. Did you ever notice inside the account thing of the eShop, there's an option for your subscriptions? It says your subscriptions, payment method for automatic renewal. So you can add a payment method to automatically renew your subscriptions. And then there's something that says available passes. And it just says you do not have any passes.
Interesting.
I should check and see if my Pokemon Pokebank shows up as an available pass or something.
I'm just doing this through the Switch's eShop, but I went in to re-download Fortnite as we're talking, so I can. That should only take the entire podcast to load onto this.
Yeah.
Why are you re-downloading it? Did I miss something?
I'm putting it. I deleted it from my SD card and I'm putting it onto the hard drive. And Nintendo doesn't have a way where you can just move something from your.
Of course
if
not.
you have an SD card in, it automatically downloads to the SD card.
Yeah.
So if you want it on your actual system memory, you have to take this. You have to delete it, take the SD card out, and then re-download it.
Did they not have this? Did they not have things where you could move between the two, either on Wii or on 3DS?
I'm pretty sure on Wii U you could move them in between your. Like I had a hard drive connected to my Wii U, and I could just move them from my hard drive to the system and back and forth.
I remember doing this at some point. So.
Because I did that. I think I had Netflix on my system itself because I thought maybe that would help it load faster and certain games that I thought.
For me, it was just if you had a second hard drive and wanted to use it as backup or transfer, you had to copy everything to your Wii internal memory first and then copy it to the other hard drive. You couldn't copy it direct.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, sounds like it. Slow, long nightmare.
But this is the sweet 200 kilobyte Nintendo Switch operating system. Or maybe it's not the operating system. Maybe it's just the display. I don't know.
The UI, yeah.
Anyway, Fortnite stuff.
Since we're jumping to random topics, man, apparently there's only 12 cartridges for those Pokemon mini units. But they all play on the NES Classic. But anyway, you were saying, Jason.
I was going to say, before we leave Fortnite completely, there is one other topic, and that is Sony has finally given us some comments about crossplay with their platform and other platforms. And I'll give you a direct quote here from Sony, and I think this just sums it up. On cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4, is the best experience for users. That's our belief. So guess what? Sony thinks they're the best place to play video
that's-
games.
That's why all the best players play on PC.
That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, even Xbox One touts their fancy, super powerful. The Xbox One X console supposedly looks better than PS4 Pro. I mean, or it has the capability to anyway, or a high-end PC running at 240 frames a second or something stupid.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a really dumb reasoning, but
yeah, no, it's complete. That's just, it's disgusting. It's like when they asked Ted Cruz what kind of music he likes, and he said, "Well, pop music was not very. They didn't respond well to 9/11, so I'm going to go with country music. They were more supportive of the troops." Like, that's bullshit. Answers are still bullshit answers, and people don't buy them. Like,
yeah, I think it comes down to place. I mean, if anybody doesn't remember, basically with Fortnite, you can't. If you started a Fortnite account and bought a bunch of crap on PlayStation, and then the Nintendo Switch version came out, you couldn't transfer your account. However, if you started on PC or Xbox, you could, and you can. I mean, it's not like it's an exclusivity thing. You can have your account. I'm logged in. I can log into Fortnite on the PC and the Switch without having to change anything over.
Or your phone,
or your phone, or whatever. But with PlayStation, just it won't let you take your account is now PlayStation exclusive.
And again, even if you created it, bought a bunch of shit on your Xbox or your PC or whatever, the moment you log into that Fortnite account on a PlayStation,
all your stuff is there. Yeah,
your stuff is locked to it, and never again can you play your account on the PC you originally set it up on or whatever.
Right.
That's just bullshit. And the fact of the matter is, though, nothing will change if people continue to buy Sony's shit.
Right.
Like,
and there were a lot of people I saw on Reddit when the new season pass came out that said, "Hey, everybody, remember, buy your season pass on any other thing than PlayStation. Even if you only play on PlayStation, buy your season pass on PC or something so Sony doesn't get a cut of that money." But I think what it comes down to is right now, Fortnite is the most popular game in the world. And if all of your friends are playing on PlayStation and you want to play with your friends on PlayStation, you have to.
But at the same token, that goes both ways. If all of your friends have something else and you have a PlayStation, you're going to find some other means to play on. If all of your friends are on Xbox and you don't have an Xbox, you sure as hell are not going to play on a PlayStation. That's your one place you can't play.
But so PlayStation to me is the most popular right now. It's got the most sales. So they probably look at it from that. They look at it from, well, screw you. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's Sony. And this is why I don't buy Sony's hardware and have. Sony did this shit with mini discs, and they've done this proprietary bullshit from the very, very beginning, long before the PlayStation. And I stopped buying Sony products even before the PlayStation for that reason, except for the TVs. You know how that goes. But anything else, stereos, Walkmans, whatever. Fuck Sony, man. I got sick of it. Everything was a proprietary format and cost 10 times as much and was not available or nowhere near as widely available. Whether it was the power plug or the which oddly enough with the PlayStation they went to like this super universal generic power cord you can get anywhere. But with everything else, man, I'm trying to think of something else besides stupid mini discs, but that's always the one I go back to. Memory sticks was the other one, right? Their proprietary version of a USB stick, or an SD card, but it's Sony only. This is it's the exact same thing applied to the non-physical product. Screw Sony, man.
Yeah. It's been a lot of bad publicity for them.
It is, but at the end of the day, like you said, they're still in charge. They're still the number one selling console, and people still buy their shit. It's like at the end of the day, Trump is still president, despite the fact that people made so much noise about all these horrible things he said and did. At the end of the day, it just doesn't friggin' matter, does it?
Yeah.
Same thing with Sony. Same thing with EA. All the bad press EA got over the Star Wars license, they got a slap on the hand from Disney, and that's all that's going to happen.
But people do remember shit like this, and they'll remember EA and the Battle front, and they'll remember Sony and this, and it's like I said, I think it emboldens Nintendo and Xbox to work together more.
Yeah.
To be like, let's create a different environment. You know?
And I think Microsoft's got a foot out of the console industry, like a foot out of the door. I don't like where. Have they ever been the number one console? They never have they?
I think they were the generation of 360 and PS3.
No, because that was the Wii. That was the Wii. So technically, I mean, and you can argue whether the Wii really competed or not, but right, the Wii outsold them. So they really weren't number one that generation either. They beat Sony, but they didn't beat Nintendo. Nintendo had the runaway hit. And then generation after, they're in the toilet again. So they didn't sell well on the first one. The second one did well, but they still got beat by Nintendo. They were never number one. So they've never had a number one selling console. As well as the 360 did, and it did do well. It can't crack Japan or Asia at all, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Neither can PlayStation. I don't think we were going to talk about this, but I did see today sales numbers that the Switch is catching up to the PS4 in Japan, which means nothing. Well,
yeah,
but PlayStation has had quite a head start.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is the PlayStation, Nintendo and Sony own Asia. Yeah. Like if I go to not that I travel all over Asia, but I just know from my experiences over there, that's all I see. That's all anybody seems to have. And in general, honestly, it was PlayStation and 3DS was what I saw when I was over there, the times I was over there. Not, a Wii U was kind of a curiosity. There was Xbox stuff. I just didn't see anybody buying it. It just seemed like everyone was buying the PlayStation and 3DS stuff.
Yeah, Xbox has definitely had an uphill climb since they joined later than everybody else.
And Microsoft has just, I could go on about Microsoft for a long time, but they've always been a company that you just can't quite feel like you can trust. Yeah. You know what I mean? They always seem, and that's exactly why the Xbox One, when it came out with, hey, we got a camera that watches you all the time, and people just were like, of course you do.
We're not buying skeleton.
Yeah, it's like of course
awesome?
you have a camera that watches us all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's the whole thing about if you do something that people expect from you, then they're immediately going to jump on it. And that's exactly what Microsoft did. Is they totally just lived up to everybody's expectation with this whole.
I have a friend who is a diehard Xbox player, and I would make fun of him for stuff like that, and he'd be like, "I don't care." He's like, "That's awesome as hell." It's like I come home, I'm like, "Xbox on," and boom, my Xbox turns on. And I'm like,
these are the same people. These are the same people that are surprised when Alexa records your conversations secretly and sends it to your neighbors. Like, what did you expect when you brought a microphone into your house that's listening all the time?
Alexa heard your grunts and has added Metamucil to your wishes.
Exactly.
It's coming, folks.
That's what I want. I think it's probably already here, and people just don't realize it yet.
But Nintendo has no camera or microphone. They've stepped back.
Yeah, man.
They want nothing to do, and it's really
props
smart
to them
that they never made the NES Classic or the Super NES Classic. They never put any kind of online connectivity, so they can never patch you out of hacking it. Or
online connectivity can be hacked in, but you're right, they can't make it phone home and lock you out. The other thing is they re-released it 2 years later, and it's still perfectly hackable. So they had every opportunity to resolve that and didn't.
They figured since
But
they were shutting down all those sites now, they don't have to worry about it. You won't be able to find the ROMs. Right?
they're making noise and shutting down big ones, but
Yeah.
small ones are still out there. There's lots of places to still get that stuff.
Was firmware going to be our next stop or not?
It wasn't, but it can be.
Oh.
Yeah,
We'll go with your flow.
Yeah, go
Okay.
with your flow.
All right, as you say. All right, so the next thing is kind of a follow-up from news that we've covered for a long time on the podcast, and that is different things happening in Europe regarding, gambling and games. And one of the loot boxes, right? And one of the big ones come out is Peggy, which is the European version of like the ESRB.
Peggy 18.
We'll be adding logo to boxes saying this game contains in-game purchases. It'll start later this year, so stuff is moving forward.
So wait a minute, they don't already?
Not that I'm aware of.
I guess
Like,
not.
Like on our eShop, if a game contains in-game purchases, it says so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't require it as part of like the.
I guess it wasn't required. Yeah, but I know like on like app stores, mobile app stores have had those, forever where it says includes it. But the thing is, in-game purchases now covers the gamut of not only DLC but also loot boxes, which is why they're adding it now. So in-game purchases might just mean, DLC add-on for your game, or it might mean includes, because I think the governments wanted it to be like, hey, this includes loot box gambling, and the companies settled on, how about we just say in-game purchases, and they were just like, okay, I guess, deal. Like, I think that was a compromise that got struck, was my understanding. So because it's pretty vague to say in-game purchases.
But it's still something that's going to be printed on a box of a game when you buy it.
The parents won't read.
Yeah, yeah.
In small print.
Like they used to have, and I think they still do. It'll say, MA17 or whatever, and then it'll have a little fine print listing of sexual activity, violence, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now it'll be in-game purchases, loot boxes,
right,
or purchasable skins or cosmetic only items.
But I have a feeling there's plenty of children still playing GTA, Doom, and everything else.
Yeah, I don't think the little icon on the box is going to make any difference if parents don't already have an awareness of it and are looking for it. So
I remember to show the effectiveness, when I was in high school, my mom rented. Back in the olden days when you would rent videos, there was a video coming out, and I wanted her to rent it for me. And she said, like, when she went to the video store, they were like, this is rated R, right? It was actually Chasing Amy. And I think she said they actually told her, like, this is just a movie about lesbian sex, right? And which isn't true, but
that'd be awesome if it was.
But she was just like, he already saw it in the theater. But I was like, so see, they can flat out tell him something like, hey, this is. She's like, she must have been like, I'm renting it for my son. I wouldn't rent this trash for myself. He's only 16.
When I was in 6th grade, I talked to my teacher. My teacher had this thing where, each group, the class was divided in groups, and whatever group got the most points via whatever method at the end of the month, I don't remember, lining up properly or whatever from recess. We got to watch a movie at lunch, over the course of a week in pieces. And I talked her. We got to choose the movie, and I talked her into History of the World Part 1, which I thought I didn't realize, I didn't remember at the time because I had seen it as a kid. I didn't realize that there was actual like nudity, and I think I may have seen it on like regular television. So they had cut those parts out, but I talked her into renting it and showing it to the class, and she was horrified at the part where all the guys roll in and it shows their bare asses, and the queen is like, having them all line up so she can look at their dicks, and pick her escorts. That was Good
I
stuff.
remember we used to watch
Great
that
movie.
old version of Romeo and Juliet, but they had VHS edited out all the boobies.
I remember the booby version
But-
of Romeo and Juliet.
But every now and then, it was always a thrill to get stuff like that at school. But at the end of the day, I think your kid's going to complain that they want something, and most parents don't care. Either don't care because they don't know, or they don't care because they don't care. And they're probably going
Yeah.
to get these ratings things are only annoying for a very small group of kids whose parents actually pay attention to those things and for some reason care about it, I think. It's like my nephews have a rule when they're with my brother that they can only play video games for 30 minutes a day, and they can only play games that are rated E for everyone. They go to my brother's house every weekend or every other weekend. When they're at their mom's house, they can play any game they want for any length of time, no matter what the rating is. So it's like,
Yeah, inconsistency.
yeah, it's like, Dad, when I go home, I'm just going to be playing these bloody games for 12 hours. But
Half hour is rather extreme.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told him we were playing Fortnite one night. I was like, you realize a game of Fortnite's basically that's like one game and 30 minutes. Like the time you get in, you get your stuff. It's like 10 minutes to get to the zone. It's like
Yeah, that's part of why it started to wear on me. I need something that's 5-minute matches.
well, you could just drop to the zone.
Drop the tilted towers.
Yeah, that's 30-second matches.
Yeah.
But no, even that it takes like you know what I mean? It's you don't realize until you start timing it how much time you spend in the lobby waiting, and then time waiting for the bus, and then loading screens, and then it's like, wow, by the time I actually started the match, it's like 5 minutes have gone by.
I felt like that about Rocket League. Like when I was looking at my hours,
That too,
I was like, I wonder
yeah.
how much of that time was just matchmaking.
Yeah.
By the way, I think the Rocket Pass comes out like within the next 3 or 4 days.
Thursday, I think.
So yeah, well,
They blew their chance. At least for
yeah,
Switch players.
I don't see that going to be a huge thing, but we'll see what that does, I guess. I don't know if they've even really talked about what it's supposed to include. So maybe if they have some really amazing stuff, they'll get a few suckers to buy it. There'll probably be some exclusive stuff that people will want to be like, I got the first ever Rocket Pass, and this is exclusive stuff that you can only get with the first Rocket Pass. That'll never be offered again. I just can't get back into it. I've been playing a couple matches a day now, just here and there, just for fun. And it's like it's still a good game. It's still fun. It's not an obsession anymore. Anyway,
Speaking
ratings.
of games that you'll be obsessed with, we did get a new direct, a new format of direct, even a mobile direct this past week for Dragalia Lost.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, I think, has probably not watched it. I think
Skipped it. Yep.
I watched it. Anyone else watch it?
No.
Not me.
No.
And it was only like, what, 20 minutes? Something like that?
Yeah, wow. No one else watched it, so it's basically just a long trailer. It looked interesting. The gameplay, it's an action RPG. And it looks good to me until it got towards the end, until it started talking about the gotcha portion of the game. And it's like, this is just another version of Fire Emblem Heroes, where if you really want these characters, you're going to have to spend hours grinding in game or pay money. But
Pre-register now.
Yeah, pre-registration is open, and I think people that we know are already registered. So,
Do we know when it's coming out? I'm sure they've given us a date, right?
I'll have to look that up.
Way to drop the ball. I'll just fast forward to the end of the thing. September 27th.
Okay, I thought it was this month, but
And you know what? What's even more fun is it doesn't say the game releases. You know what it says? Service begins on September 27th. This isn't a game. This is service. As I've said, this whole games as a service thing is really sneaking in to the
but in the wrong way, not in the way of a gigantic Pokemon or Animal Crossing MMO, but in the way
They're
of,
not.
you know,
You're no longer playing a
microtransactions.
game. You're being served entertainment um, that you will continually pay for every day
You're
through
being
microtransactions.
you're being served content. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all the content
Yeah.
you can eat.
Yeah, or all the content you can pay for
Mm-hmm.
every day. But yeah, I mean, it looks. I mean, it looks to me like an RPG. Like, is it 4 players or 4 characters on the screen or what
Yeah.
have you? Um,
It actually reminds me of like the Tales series of games,
yeah,
and a little bit, not that depth. But
and it had some stuff like I know they were showing like during the fights, like you can like swipe to dodge attacks.
yeah,
Uh,
it,
you know,
it's definitely got more going on than the Fire Emblem Heroes game.
it's more of an
Dragon Ball.
RPG. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
it's more action
Yeah,
than
it looks like if you just saw a screenshot and didn't know it was mobile, you'd be like, "Oh, is this some sort of Super NES or 3DS RPG?" Or you know, it looks okay to the people that are interested. I'm not an RPG guy, but I think that with Fire Emblem doing as well as it did, they're like, let's do another one of those.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
because casual RPG people. I don't even know if this is gonna how big Nintendo or prominently Nintendo's name is gonna appear on this. Um,
I don't either.
if it does well enough, will we see a Dragalia mainline series coming to Nintendo Switch?
Well, they bring mobile games over already, so
Or do they? No, I mean, do they already have one planned? And this is just like to wet the
uh,
palate, and then they're gonna be like, now here's the full mainline game.
it could be. If they've got something
Ah,
planned, they haven't named it.
Yeah,
but that is a fair point. It seems like every one of these games has been some sort of experiment in marketing and microtransactions, and this could
yeah,
be like that's a very good idea. This could be a similar kind of experiment. What if we release the phone game first, and then we, release a companion game? Yeah, I could totally
yeah.
see them trying it.
And every
Transfer
time
your characters via your Nintendo account to your Switch game.
well,
Oh,
that is what they're doing with Pokemon Go and Pokemon Let's Go.
yeah,
There is that connection, so you may very well be right. But I know my true fear is Animal Crossing Pocket Camp being connected to a mainline
yeah,
Animal Crossing game in any way.
yeah. I remember trying to explain that to one of my friends the other day. We were talking about um, I think we were talking about Dragalia Lost, and we started talking about like Diablo and some of the games that he's into, and how microtransactions work. There was some game that he had played a whole bunch, and he was like talking about how he finally did breakdown and put some money into it. And he's like, all the money really does is it speeds up the process. Like you can do this thing through grinding, or you can pay money and just have the thing like the potion made or whatever it was. And I was like, that sounds like Pocket Camp. Like it's like I'm like, you can get these little things, like get a tree swing or some crap for your town or for your campsite, and you can either wait 3 days or you can just pay money and get it now. And I'm like, and the best part is you can't even interact with it. It's literally just set dressing. Like you can't sit in the swing and swing on it. You can just
Look at
have
it.
it. You can
Yep.
just look at it on your phone.
Well, that's all the whole game is. It's just stuff to look
Yeah.
at.
That was the worst thing about that game is you think, oh, like you when you get one of the characters and you think, oh, I can interact or do. No, he's just gonna sit there.
He's just gonna sit in your town, and if you talk to him every now and then, he might ask you to do something for him.
To go catch more fish.
But less often than the people who are just out in the wild.
Yeah, and he'll give you a chore. Yeah, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. We all need more chores in our life, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of chores, they've still been pretty quiet about this Mario Kart mobile game,
Yeah.
where I'm sure
Oh,
we'll have
that
to pay for gas.
that really did kind of just go into a black hole, didn't it? Like, what is?
It'll be out by the. It wasn't supposed to be out by April, was
It was 2019, but I don't
it?
know.
Was it? Because I know they said by the end of. I can't remember. Did they say by the end of the fiscal year? I'll have to look and see what they had said about that. But yeah, I haven't heard anything else about that. But I don't know that too many people were really excited. That's one for the casuals to see and be like, oh, hey, there's a Mario Kart game on the phone.
I'll tell you,
Yeah, more just marketing of the brand than anything else.
the worst thing about that, or what I fear the most, is when it does get close to coming out. That's all there's going to be on Twitter is post after post after post from Nintendo. You can play as Toad in Mario Kart World Tour. You can play as Koopa Troopa. And they're going to drag it out forever. Like, I got sick of seeing Mario Run and Mario Run events. It's like, no.
The official time frame given was it would be released by March of 2019.
That's kind of first quarter.
So
we still got a lot of time.
Does anyone want to bet whether or not it's going to beat the King of Cards?
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, since you mentioned it, we can go ahead and bring that up. I know a lot of us have played Shovel Knight, and
March 2019.
That's right. Since we got Shovel Knight Showdown, which we talked about last week, Yacht Club did go ahead and say, "Oh, by the way, great news, exciting news," and that's all you hear on Twitter. Exciting news! King of Cards finally has the release date.
As do the Amiibo.
And Amiibo, which we all thought were already out, and we just
which we didn't know, and nobody. We cared so much about those Amiibo that we didn't even remember if they had been released yet or not.
But this was just shocking to me. It took me back when I saw this, April 2019. Yeah, and people are like, "This is so soon." I'm like, what?
Yeah, people are like, I can't believe you're gonna have it ready so soon, and I'm like, this seems like a long time to me. Just because it's been teased for so long. Now, I know they've said it's like the biggest installment out of all their little DLC games.
But it's an 8-bit game, man. And I don't know.
Yeah.
What else are they doing?
Well, it also...
weren't they publishing stuff for other developers?
Yeah, they have been.
Yeah, there was something else, though, that they were... But the Amiibo are going to come out then. That's going to come out. I don't know if they're going to have like an updated physical version or what. I thought it said something, but I thought Shovel Knight not already out physically on Switch? Maybe not. Maybe that's what it was going to be. They were also releasing a physical version at the same time. So it's a coordinated strike. But I remember the Game Grumps did an advertisement for the Shovel Knight Amiibo, and I was like, man, it seems like that was a long time ago. And I went on YouTube and looked, and it was like November of last year that they were like, coming soon, Shovel Knight Amiibo 3-pack. So I'm like, okay, that was a year ago that they said that. So not many Amiibo get their own commercial, let alone a commercial advertising that a product that doesn't end up coming out for another year and a half.
Yeah. I really thought we would get King of Cards this spring. And then
I thought it was going to come.
We'll maybe get it summer at the latest, and it's like, when is it coming out? And I've almost.
Well, when did the last one come out? When did was Spectre Knight the last one?
Yep, I don't know.
That just came out this spring, didn't it?
No, that was last year.
Was it?
I have to look this up. We're using Google search. Maybe it was this year.
I thought it was just like Spectre Torment.
It says releasing starting this April, and that was posted March 29th, 2017. So it's a year apart. So, it just seems like forever.
Yeah.
Hit us up in the comments. I mean,
well, you said 2017?
Yeah.
Because it's 2018 now.
Oh, never mind. So it's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years apart.
Time flies. But yeah.
So it has been a long time.
This is feeling, this is becoming a pattern with a lot of stuff. Ritual of the Night, right? Bloodstained.
Yeah.
Got pushed back to next year also. Like a lot of things have all of a sudden. It seems like that something, I don't know. Is there some big, because it's not just Nintendo. It seems to be industry wide. Like a lot of devs are hitting a slide period for some reason. Maybe there's some big industry standard coming up we're not aware of that's going to change or something. I don't know.
Are you talking about the Nintendo Switch Online service?
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, that was my first thought, but right, this isn't necessarily Nintendo stuff. So,
and I know we did speak a little bit about it last week that the new Shovel Knight Showdown is not available for Nintendo 3DS,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be available for all the other stuff. But also, PlayStation Vita is not going to be getting the Showdown either.
Mm.
So the two real handhelds are not going to be getting it, but every other thing is.
Yeah, but those are the two that everyone recognizes are on their last leg, especially the Vita.
Yeah. I'm not like a huge fan of I only really liked the original Shovel Knight, which they called Shovel of Hope now. It's like when Star Wars became New Hope. Um, so I've tried going into Plague Knight, couldn't get into it. I tried the other day to get into Spectre, and I started another thing and started playing it. And I was just like, man, I just feel like I can't control this. I'm sure if I played around with it enough, I would feel more comfortable with it. And it gets more fluid, it looks like, when you can start grinding rails and stuff like that with the different suits. But
It's
for me, just starting out, I was just kind of frustrated with the controls.
Yeah, it's like that. I always play it, I finished Shovel Knight, the original, and then it was a long time before I played it again, and then I played it again when Plague Knight came out, and it's like you have to like relearn the controls because they're kind of awkward in a way, or like they're not intuitive to a degree, so you have to kind of relearn to play it. And it
But I
felt
know
like,
you enjoyed Spectre a lot.
yeah, it was much shorter, and I feel like I played with Plague Knight for a very long time, and there was times the controls were kind of difficult, and I thought Spectre Knight was more fluid, like you said, and it was quicker, so I enjoyed it more.
But Shovel of Hope that's where it's at, right?
Yeah, I would say you need to play that if you're going to play the others.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not really waiting for these. I was just surprised. I don't really have any complaints that it's taken so long. I was really surprised and didn't expect in September an announcement that it'll be released in April. And I'm surprised that the whole internet seems to be like, cool, can't wait.
That's all paid for advertising, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't.
Maybe that's just when the factories were going to be able to start squirting out games for them and the amiibo at the same time. So they were just like, when can you have the physical game and the amiibo done? And they were like, here's the date if you want them in any certain numbers. They were like, all right, it looks like April's when it's coming out.
I mean, I'm like mildly excited for this, and I intend to play it when it comes out. But then again, every month that rolls by, the more I forget about it, the more likely I am to say, why bother when it comes up? I have mine on 3DS, so I don't know if my 3DS will make it.
Well, you'll get King of Cards. You
Yeah,
don't know if it'll make it till April?
Well, I mean, not that it'll die, but I don't know that I will put it away by then, and say, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah, that's true.
That
is quite a ways out.
Yeah, I just recently, the other day when my daughter was here with her 2DS, I carried my 3DS in my pocket and got 10 play coins for the first time and I don't know how long. Just to be like, hey, I used to do this all the time, just for fun. But I don't do much. I looked through the games and I was like, is there anything I really want to play? There's really not. I tried Zeo Drifter again. Or is it Xeno Drifter?
Xeno Drifter.
Just because I remember.
I was pretty sure it was Zeo Drifter.
That's what I thought. XEO. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
But it. I could never get into that game, so I was like, I want to try it. It's gotten a lot of rave reviews. It's one of those Jules Walsham joints. But I ended up just playing Mario Kart 7 and New Super Mario Brothers 2 with my daughter in multiplayer mode until she rage quits. That's what she does. She'll get pissed at me for winning a race and then just flips her sleep button, which the 2DS has, which is kind of nice.
I remember playing with those kids when I was little.
Yeah. So I'll be like, I'm gonna go outside, but I'll still play with you while I'm outside. through the local, and then all of a sudden it'll just say communication has been disabled or something like that. I'm like, oh, what happened? I don't want to play anymore. She's not good at losing. But yeah, the 3DS hasn't gotten a lot of action from me lately. I was looking through the eShop the other day. So there was that 90s or 80s Overdrive game that's like a racing game that's supposed to be kind of in the style of like Outrun and Cruising, that was on my radar when it first released, and it just went on sale on the eShop. I thought about it, and then I was like, I don't know. There's so much more I need to get. I need to get Hollow Knight and play that, maybe.
Yeah, there's every time I've thought about picking up something on 3DS, there's games I've overlooked over the years. And it's like, I just don't know that I want to tie myself to 3DS to play.
Tokitori?
Aside from no, I mean I've heard that's really good, but I've not played that.
You know what I just realized the other day? So that was a Game Boy Color game originally, and they just remastered it for 3DS. So in the Virtual Console on the 3DS, you can download Tokitori for $4 for the Game Boy Virtual Console version, or the remastered 3DS edition for $2.
Wow.
So a little something for you on the Tokitori front.
Tokitori is one of those games that pops up in a bundle all the time for $1 or something.
Yeah.
You're right. The OG Game Boy Color one, it's color, I think, or maybe it's black and white. I don't remember now. That one's still $4, like all the other Game Boys.
Yeah. But that's probably I was thinking about the Virtual Console and looking through there, just kind of browsing through the 3DS, which I don't do very often, and kind of a little sad. I bet those Game Gear games, this is the end of the line for them. And probably Game Boy and Game Boy Color as well.
I don't know. They had a lot of success with the relaunch of the Pokemon games, the Red, Blue, and Yellow games. So
that's true. Those are still, I did check the charts, and those still are in the best sellers.
If anyone can figure out how to recycle old games again and make money off them, it's Nintendo.
Definitely. Yeah.
But Game Gear, I felt like, was such a weird choice in the first place because it didn't really have much of an audience, and I'm sure none of those games are amazing.
You know what? Oddly enough, there's a handful in my mini hacking travels. I've done a lot of research on old games and stuff, and there are a handful of things on Game Gear that were exclusive that were very, very highly regarded. Like apparently the Game Gear version, the 2 Game Gear Shinobi games were unique to Game Gear. They were not like the other Shinobi games, and they're very highly regarded. So there's a few things, but I know what you mean. Like most of Game Gear is just ports of Master System stuff, because that's, as far as I understand, that's exactly what it was a portable Master System.
Yeah, basically. Zoomed in.
Just zoomed
there's
in
some
versions.
Sort of, I know the 3DS one there's some sort of like Castlevania ripoff. I don't remember what it's called, like Dracula's Quest or something like that. And that looked interesting. And then there's like a G-Lock, which is like an Afterburner kind of ripoff. Everything's a ripoff.
But wasn't Afterburner Sega's anyway?
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
I know, but where G-Lock came from, I don't know, because that's exactly what it was an Afterburner clone.
Yeah. On that beautiful Game Gear screen. Anyway, let's move along. I could talk about Game Gear all day.
That's right. How many batteries you could use?
Oh God, yeah, that would
6
burn
or 8
through
at a time.
I think it was
as many
6,
as the Super Scope 6,
but a few hours. Yeah,
not as fast as the Super Scope 6.
See, again, failed in comparison to Nintendo. But anyway,
when are we going to get virtual versions of that?
A Super Scope?
Yeah, it'll be like physically tethered to some like thing.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't put on the minis or any of the light gun games, because you can't do anything with them. Even Rob, you can just fake it with another person holding the other controller.
I will say I haven't looked into it very much, but I know somebody kickstarted something that is a Duck Hunt assister that basically allows you to play Duck Hunt on an LCD TV. However, it does not work with any other video game except Duck Hunt. But it allows you to use your original NES zapper and your original NES on your TV screen, but it only works for Duck Hunt. I don't know how it works or why the technology is limited to just that one game.
Maybe they patched it specifically. They rewrote the game to make it work.
I'm not sure. It supposedly works with the original NES cart, but it's a Kickstarter thing that, yeah, I don't know. It's like Duck.
It's like a modern Game Genie.
I'll look it up later, and people who are listening to this now will never find out.
Awesome.
But look up Duck Hunt Kickstarter or something, and I'm sure it's out there. Sorry.
It exists.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things that have come into existence lately, we have found out that we will be getting a Smash Ultimate demo. That is, if you live in one of the 10 cities where they're having the 10 events. So, demo events going up at Best Buy, September 8th through October 7th, so basically over the next month, in 10 cities. I know I was a little disappointed to hear that. I actually went and stood in line for the previous Smash game, get a chance to play that.
Well, nobody in America lives outside of those 10 major cities.
That's right.
So.
Nobody that Nintendo cares about anyway. If they figure their fans are hardcore enough, they'll go there. They'll drive 16 hours to there.
Plus,
to
that
play
demo,
a Smash demo
probably weighs so much and takes so much to transport that they could only transport it to 10 stores.
That's right.
Or just send it digitally to every single Best Buy in the country.
They want to make it feel exclusive.
I guess so. I mean, that's their job, is to hype this thing up as much as they can. But I still am holding out hope that they eventually just, and I don't even care about Smash, but throw a demo in the eShop.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it doesn't happen like that. Like, I don't know, other than Best Buy maybe paying them, like, to drive business there, maybe.
But why not at all stores then? If it was a financial,
I doubt it's Best Buy paying them as much as it's a discount or something. You know, it's cross. Co-marketing.
But it'd be great if the announcement was, hey, it's going to be playable this weekend at these Best Buys, and then Monday or a week later,
every Best Buy
get a demo, or
the eShop's getting a demo or something, But no, it's just an event. People are playing it, and people are going to say great things about it, but you won't get to play it. That's their marketing strategy.
Maybe.
Nintendo will have people there to record every person that plays it and find the most excited one to plaster all over Twitter.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I remember when the 3DS one came out, it was one of those email distribution only demos where some people got emails from Nintendo with a code to download the demo. Other people didn't.
You could share the code with someone.
Yeah. Or two someone's.
Yeah, I think it was two someone's.
How about a Club Nintendo reward for Super Smash Brothers demo?
I hate to say it, but that might actually be something they would do.
I mean, I would like it more than a wallpaper.
Yeah, that would be a better value than a wallpaper for Platinum Coins.
Yeah.
Oh, don't give him that idea. Then we'd have to spend Platinum Coins to get any demo.
I would be glad to spend Platinum Points for anything.
Rather than just watch them evaporate.
Yeah, because that's all they're good for right now. Because I'm sorry, phone pictures don't count as anything.
I'm down to 3,000
images.
I don't know when they're going away, but I have 3,000, and I kept thinking, man, I haven't accrued any new Platinum Points in a long time.
Yeah, I gave up.
I think I let like 1,500, something like that, or 1,200 expire. Yeah, it was a lot.
Feels good, man.
Yeah,
It's a cleansing. It's a cleansing. It frees your soul.
Think of all those times I played Super Mario Run or answered questions in Miitomo to get those.
And thought, oh, I got to do this to get my platinum coins today, and those platinum coins just have gone nowhere.
I remember Eric was disappointed when Miitomo was closing. He was like, "That's one of my platinum coin mines. Well, what am I gonna do?" But oh well.
Anyway, I do think one of the other sad things kind of connected to this is I think the local events from Nintendo, like used to, there was something like once a quarter you could go to GameStop or Best Buy or Toys R Us before it closed, and there would be whatever games are coming out, you could go and play a demo of them, or
any GameStop, any Toys R Us,
right? Or it was like one in your city. Or
yeah, at least, or you're right. Not necessarily everyone, but at least the bigger ones, at least, the main ones, if you had multiples around.
The little demo stations they have now are really weird because they have you'll see 20 games shown, and there's 5 demos, and the rest of the things it just shows a video of that game.
Yeah. I don't.
That said, I've noticed at Target lately, it seems like people are always a dad and a kid, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or always playing something. Usually Mario Kart.
Yeah, or Odyssey.
I saw a dad and a kid playing the hell out of tennis the other day. The new Mario Tennis.
And my daughter likes to play Kirby when she's in the store.
Yeah.
It's better in the store.
She'll grow out of that phase.
Yeah.
I hope so.
She never plays it here at home, so I've never bought the game.
She knows not to in front of Daddy.
Yeah, I've got the demo, but I haven't played the game. I'm hoping Pokemon comes out with a demo, because that's been her new obsession. We'll see.
Speaking of Pokemon being an obsession, we did get some news today that there will be new news coming out this Sunday for Pokemon Let's Go.
They're really hyping this, aren't they?
Yeah, Junichi Masuda will actually be appearing on a Japanese variety show called Pokinchi, and there's new info.
Pokinchi.
And I was actually talking to Max about this.
Edit that out.
Before you get too excited saying, oh, we might actually get something good, I do think after not thinking for a while, it did come back that the previous time something like this happened, that he appeared on a show or news was released on a TV show, that it was like Pokemon hairstyles.
Can't wait.
So don't get too excited. If anyone was excited at all for Pokemon Let's Go.
I'd like to give a running update. Fortnite is now downloaded onto my Nintendo Switch.
Congratulations.
On the system memory. All within the time it takes to do the podcast.
How big is it again?
It's like 2 gigs.
Oh, it's small.
But yeah. It's not bad. I was just curious.
Like
it seems
20
sometimes,
on the PC,
sometimes the updates seem like it's like they take forever, so I wasn't sure about the whole game, but seems to be working. I've luckily been able to maintain my not use up all my 32 gigs, but I do have an SD card for a lot of the stuff. Jason, did you ever get an SD card?
No.
Oh, that's right. It's time.
It is time.
I keep seeing cheap deals.
Yeah, I have seen some pretty good deals.
I saw Best Buy now gives an SD card out when you buy a Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, really? How big?
64 gig.
Which isn't huge, but it's
free.
It could be smaller. Yeah, it's free, and it's more than the Switch comes. It's twice as much as the Switch comes with.
It's almost like they think it needs one. That should be something that they should just bundle in. Nintendo should just bite the bullet and bundle one of those in.
Yeah. They even have their own SanDisk branded Switch cards, which are like $10 or $20 higher. Yeah. They have come down. They're only like $10 more than the others, but
yeah.
unless they're on the others are on really good sales. But anyway,
Yeah, they're still ridiculous. I think I've got 128 in mine, and I figure most of the stuff that I download is going to be little small indie games, but sometimes those aren't even small.
yeah.
I forget what game. Oh, The Messenger, I think, just came out, which I haven't gotten it, but somebody was complaining, like, why the hell is this game? Um, I think it was 6 gigs or something. And,
Wow.
they just didn't think it needed to be that big. But,
Well, and
you know,
the other thing to add up is like you were mentioning updates. If you have a game that gets updates every week or every so often, those updates eat up memory
add up.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
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 Well, the largest game I have on my Nintendo Switch is Doom, and I bought that physically, but you have to do an online update to get the online play for that game, which I've never even used. But you have to do that. That update's required to play it, or it required me to play it anyway before I could even play the solo campaign. So that was 8 gigs, and that was the largest thing that I've currently got. But I haven't bought any actual games, like full retail games on mine yet. Not real ones.
Not real ones. Well, I haven't either. All mine are still cartridge based.
Yeah.
They still
For me,
take time.
yeah, same thing until the 20% disappears.
Yeah, that will
Sorry.
make a big difference. No longer getting a discount. I was just going to say, I was thinking it'll come a point pretty soon to where there will be incentives to buy digitally over physically, other than not having to change cartridges. Because we're
Yeah. The convenience, though, is nice. But yeah, it would be nice if they would just put a little bit of a sale. I hate now that Nintendo, like when a game's on sale, they adjust the free gold points you get and stuff.
Yeah.
They finally got hip to it.
Yeah.
That was it used to be the sweetest thing about the old setup.
It's sad that we enjoyed that so much, but
not like that was such a big thing they needed to change. I mean, saving us a penny or two.
Let people feel like they're getting, like they're getting a deal, right? Even if it's really just it's nothing they're giving away, right? But
yeah,
let people feel like they're getting away with something. That goes a long way towards endearing you to your fan base, and those are the kind of things that they've seemed to have lost sight of.
yeah, they don't really care.
No, they don't.
All right, speaking of
Not caring. Oh.
well, there are some rumors going around about Switch version 6.0.
Sure are.
Yeah, we've had some interesting things. The first thing I heard about was a messaging system, and that was coming to the Switch. And then later on, like a few days later, I think there was rumored a couple of web-based apps coming to the Switch. And these are from hackers that have hacked it, supposedly have access to it. So they believe that the update was going to come out this week, which we've heard no news of this. And let's see what else was there. Oh yeah, the other big thing was officially licensed retro controller support was found inside, like it would show for the different controllers for older games systems.
Yeah, there was a logo for like the NES controller, and a logo for a Super NES, and a logo for a Famicom that were found that basically pop up, like, if you connect your Pro controller, there's like a little picture of a Pro controller on there. So it looks like there's some sort of controller that maybe, if this leak is valid, which I think it is, I think we all expect some sort of firmware to come when they update the online.
Yeah. Well, and we did another thing we saw in this was the new slogan: more games, more features, more fun, which kind of sounds like something that would be coming with the online service,
More games, 20 of them, and they're NES games.
And the features is you can now pay to use the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's really forgetting about the big deal with the online, which is there's going to be game offers that are exclusive to online service members. So,
Just
you
like
know,
those My Nintendo ones.
yeah, I remember when you get your birthday email every year from Nintendo and they say take 20% off of this game you already own on us.
It's only 3 years old. You probably don't have this.
That should be exciting. Yeah, I mean, back in the Club Nintendo days, those used to be even more laughable because it's like I already got that because I had to for the Nintendo points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's safe to say if you want any of those Wii U games or something like that, you've already got them. But we'll see. Maybe they will do something. You never know. Nintendo could surprise us, right?
They could, but it seems very unlikely.
Yeah.
They never surprise us in a good way, or very rarely.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed back the online till August or till October. Rather.
Well, we don't really have any additional things to comment on the online, so we'll go ahead and bring this up. One thing we were talking about is the cloud saves earlier before the podcast, and it's like,
oh yeah,
how can they do this? What could they do to these cloud saves that would cause us more headaches? We were just going through all the scenarios. Well, it could be updating when we didn't want it to update.
Yeah, like when's it gonna update? Like what if? Yeah, and you brought up like with Animal Crossing, like what if you want to go back to a previous save because you messed something up or did something wrong, and then when you try to, it's like sorry, the cloud already saved whatever your mistake was that you didn't want to do.
Just keeps reloading.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's some questions, and I feel like stuff like that's not something that they would address anyway. So that's going to be one of those things that you just find out after you've already screwed yourself over.
Yep. You see these warnings going out on sites for whatever game it is.
Yeah, like, hey, just watch out, because if you do this, or remember like when Metroid Other M had that deal where if you saved your game after a certain point, you were locked out of the game, and they were asking people to send in their save data SD card so they could fix it and then mail it back to you. It's like, what if something like that happens? And it's like, oh, but it cloud saved already, so now we're gonna have to ask Nintendo to fix our cloud save because of a glitch in their game.
Well, that's the thing is to fix it, Nintendo will be able to put out a patch on their system where the saves are, as opposed to having you send your stupid SD card. But
yeah,
that's assuming that they're modern,
Sure they are.
Something's going to happen, and someone's going to lose their 200 hours in Breath of the Wild, and
it's already happened.
Don't load your Breath of the Wild save data.
Yeah.
Don't update it to the cloud.
Yeah, we know there's going to be something. We just don't know what yet. But we'll know within a week of the service launching what its faults are. If they're not obvious, like soccer being one of the games.
It's going to be the service that keeps on giving, I think.
Sure hope so.
We're going to continue to find things over the months.
I expect it to be an incredibly bumpy launch. Yeah.
It'll be $40 next year.
I expect the system to crash first day, go down. Whatever system it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wish you could preload the online service. Because something tells me you're not going to be able to get online that first day.
First day, first weekend.
Yeah. I think everybody's trying to get into the eShop to sign up for the online service.
Sorry, reservations are full or something like that.
Yeah.
You should have pre-ordered.
We had them on Amazon. You could have bought the card.
Yeah. But the thing is, even when you buy those cards, it says once the service is available, they'll email you a code.
You've just paid for a piece of paper.
Yeah, not even that, an email.
An email, yeah.
Maybe I'll go and buy a physical card in a Best Buy.
No.
Probably not.
Last time I tried to do that because of the DLC for Fire Emblem Warriors, I thought I'll get one with the logo on it. That's like a collector's item. You can put it in with the game.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a mess. I went over it back in the day. If you want to hear that, you can skip back to when that was released. But anyway, yeah, good times. And there was one other little tidbit that was coming out, and I know we were all going to be shocked about this. New icons are coming out.
Ooh, can't wait.
And they're for Captain Toad. So
finally, the Captain Toad. Nintendo's listening. They've heard your pleas, and you will be able to have a Toadette avatar as your Switch icon.
Oh, thank you.
For all to see.
I think the only person who maybe is excited about this is probably Japanese Nintendo. If you know him from Twitter, he loves Toad. So
yeah,
perhaps that's who Nintendo is catering to.
That's true. I know Max is a big fan of Japanese Nintendo.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. If you want to get some good news sources and you don't follow him already on Twitter, I highly recommend go check him out.
Yeah.
A lot of our news stories, we get tips from him, so
yeah,
check it out. It's an unintentional, unplanned plug, but anyway. So we also found out, speaking of things coming to the Switch, we found out today that we're also getting a new app coming to Switch in October. And it's Izneo App, which is, I like how this one had its own separate tagline. It's the first online platform dedicated to comics.
Yeah, this is our second comic book app coming to Nintendo Switch. So again, Nintendo's heard your cries loud and clear. You want to read comics on your Switch? Okay, we got it. We're bringing
Far
you
more than you want to watch movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
apparently, this was a need that I did not know needed to be addressed. I'm just flabbergasted by this.
So yeah, the first one has not yet come out, but now there is a second one coming out. So
And these are North American applications, huh?
they're worldwide, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
The previous one was the first worldwide app.
Yeah.
And this was just the first platform. I like that they include that in their little promos. They're the first at something in the world of digital comic books.
Yeah, comics are bigger in Asia than they are here, I guess. That's got to have something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever looked at the comments section on any site, everybody wants to be first.
Yeah, that's true. And all those first comments are saying, when can we get comics on Switch? It's 2018.
The wait is over. Thank God. Maybe. I don't know when that other one was supposed to launch, but looks like we're going to be getting two. Hopefully there will be a big Nintendo Direct, and they'll tell us all about these great comic services and Netflix. But we'll see.
And Netflix.
And Amazon Prime and
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll.
No, I think you went too far. I think it'll be a big Direct where they talk about these great comic services, and that will be it.
Yeah.
And just Smash Brothers.
And Smash.
But yeah, we got to be due. There's been the rumor mill's going.
They're going to have a new Smash Brothers comic series. Mark my words.
I hope so.
Look, it is.
That should have been a pre-order bonus.
Both of these are subscription-based services, and maybe Switch Online will bring more subscription-based services like that, like Netflix and like Crunchyroll or YouTube. So maybe it's a good sign.
Boy, I hope so. Not really. I mean, I think we just want the normal, regular ones that everybody has at this point.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Anyway, was that the news?
That was in the news. We still have some more to cover.
Okay.
Wii U has surprisingly getting a firmware update. Comes out, actually, it's already out. It's version 5.53. Everyone thought the Wii U was dead, but no. Firmware update.
If it doesn't allow me to put GameCube discs into the slot and play them, I don't care.
I think what it actually does is prevents you from using exploits and stuff that they've found somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably.
Would be my guess. Which goes to show they still somehow, I guess, care about the Wii U.
There's still a department at Nintendo with dudes that are still working on updates for it.
They just don't want you to have any fun on it. So,
Well, nobody ever
I'm
really did
guessing.
anyway.
I'm guessing somebody hacked something, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to push out another update."
And it wasn't covered in the news because no one else is playing Wii U.
It might be because the end of life of something is coming. You know what I mean? It might be because they're going to close down the Wii U eShop or something, and eventually remove it.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That could be also connected to the online service. Maybe they're going to start shutting down some of the older ones.
I hope so. Shut them all down, as C-3PO would say. Put it to pasture. Stick a fork in it. I did see PlayStation. Sony has decided to pull the plug on support for the PS2. So maybe the Wii U can go that way as well.
And Miitomo support also ended over this last week, I do believe.
There was Miitomo support?
Yeah, like for the support for the app, not like actual support for the game, but like if you called in for support or had problems with it, it actually ended. So if you're still trying to get money out of Nintendo for your purchases in Miitomo,
that was probably a really slow last couple months for those people handling that.
There's probably two people that just took turns monitoring the one phone call they got.
Like, did we get any emails yet? Nope. All right. Back to my Switch. What a sweet cake.
Speaking of things that got not much of attention, we did get an announcement of a new 2DS XL, silver and purple, again with Mario Kart 7.
Which in the 3DS charts is the number one game on the charts right now for the 3DS, I noticed, suspiciously. But I guess that's because it comes with every single 2DS sold.
Yeah, they're pushing that out. So.
Yeah.
I think it's stuff like kids play Mario Kart on, their big brother or sisters or cousins Switch or whatever, right? They play it at a friend's house and their parents just figure they're too young for it. So, but hey, here's the miniature Mario Kart version for you. And we would agree it's really no lesser a game, Mario Kart 7.
No, Mario Kart 7's good.
It's a legit solid entry in the series. It's just, it's slightly lower res and yada yada, but I don't fault them at all for putting out yet another new, Mario Kart themed 2DS or Super Mario 3D Land themed 2DS or whatever. Although,
they're not looking
3D
to get
Land
upgraders at this point.
Yeah.
They're looking to get new blood, I guess. Just in time for, I'm surprised. Do you think we'll get we got to get a Luigi's Mansion, right? I'm surprised for Halloween they haven't announced a
Did they do a
Dark
Dark
3DS.
Moon? Did they do one for Dark Moon? Did they do a Luigi's Mansion 3DS?
So
this is their opportunity to go back and right that wrong. But of course, it'll be a 2DS, so it'll still be a wrong.
I want it to be glow in the dark, but I also want it to be a 3DS.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they've never officially said in the US that, well, I guess the 3DS isn't officially dead in the US. You can still get the Galaxy one.
Everywhere. Yeah. And anywhere.
And possibly the Samus one.
That's
As I found out tonight
weird.
on bestbuy.com. I happened to notice they were advertising I could order the Samus 3DS, which I have, and have it delivered to my store within the next 3 days. And I was like, I thought those were sold out a long time ago. you don't usually see the limited editions coming back unless somebody in a warehouse just found a whole bunch of unsold ones. I don't think that was necessarily a hot seller for them, but check it out.
I still see the Pikachu edition. I guess those were 2DSs, though, weren't they?
Yeah, nobody
Those
wants
still
that
are
2DS.
around.
Yeah.
Although, well, my daughter would like that. She's all about the Pika.
Good for her.
That's so much better than Kirby, man. That's a wonderful trend that you should encourage.
Yes, I agree.
I guess so. I feel defeated as I have so little knowledge on Pokemon.
Oh, Shuffle, man. That's
Yeah,
Well, you two can learn together.
that's true. I've tried to get her. I tried to get her into the Pokemon Go, and we do that a little bit. But
What about
doesn't
Let's
really
Go?
care.
That's
That's what I don't know. It's gonna depend if it's got a baby mode or not. Like, because I don't want it to be something that, like, I don't know how to play and won't enjoy, and then she's not gonna be able to play it and enjoy it. Because like I don't
You'll
know that she's
figure
gonna
it
be able to
out, no
handle like
problem.
battling and stuff like that, or even if she'll want to. I think she likes the characters more than anything, and I don't know if that'll translate to.
You'd rather just watch the cartoon and occasionally make stuff move, but
Yeah,
not pressure, no pressure. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
you.
but she'd probably be in. I mean, she likes the whole catching mechanic in Pokemon Go, so I'm sure she would like it. And Let's Go.
You got her throwing excellent curveballs.
No, she'll throw 3 or 4, and then I'm like, here, let me throw one.
Are you throwing excellent curveballs?
No, I throw them straight. Should I be curving them?
Yeah, you can curve them.
We're talking to the pro here, man.
That's
I
right.
guess so.
You should be able to. You're doing it straight throws. You ought to be able to do thumb flicks on those things.
Wow. I'll have to I'll have to watch some YouTube videos later, I guess.
That's right. That's right. You need to do it the pro way.
I throw it the same way I throw my bowling balls, the non-pro way. Line it up and throw it straight.
It's not hard to do. Once you do it a few times, you can do it without even looking at your phone. You'll even start to learn where the different hitboxes are.
Is there an advantage to this?
You get
Other
more
than just being the most badass Pokemon player?
You get more experience and a higher likelihood of catching the Pokemon.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you go.
Rattata is mine.
That's right.
My 20th one.
That's right. We need some more so you can evolve it. Anyway, so moving on from Pokemon Go, we got some other news. I didn't think to bring this up during the My Nintendo segment we had earlier. We did find something very fascinating coming out of Japan September 14th, so still over a week away. My Nintendo Labo boxes. And
oh, yeah.
These are exactly what you would imagine. They're those cheap banker boxes you can buy, a big pack at the office store for when you have to move something. But they have Labo designs on them.
Yeah, to me it looked like one of those boxes that when you work in an office, the printer paper comes in. Because doesn't it have a lid too?
Yeah.
So wait, but now I had missed these. So they actually have Labo, like something you can punch out and make out of the box, though? Or
no, this is a box for you to stick all your Labo shit in after you've built it and have nowhere to put it.
it just has a Labo logo or whatever.
Yeah.
Now,
see, the best part is it's made out of cardboard. Oh.
They blew an opportunity there to make, because that would have been kind of cool if it actually, the box itself made something.
Well, this is just a storage box for your Labo crap.
Just think about the boringest version of this that you can imagine, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But it's better than phone wallpapers.
Yeah.
I'd like to order these and just have them, stuck in a closet somewhere, and it's like, oh, you need to store that somewhere. Let me get out my Labo box.
That would be an excellent thing to use my Club Nintendo points on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you have nothing else to use them for, like, okay, I'll take some storage boxes to put.
Do you think it ships flat and you get to build it yourself with your family and friends?
Only hope.
And walk through instructions on your Switch?
I bet you, it comes with a cartridge to tell you how to assemble it.
Oh, that would be awful.
Download code. It's printed on the box.
QR code. Oh wait, we don't have a
Yeah.
camera anymore.
That's right. Not until the Nintendo Switch camera accessory comes out and plugs into the bottom.
Oh, you know what? The infrared camera might be able to read them.
Oh, that's
I'm
true.
I'm curious if that would work or not. You have to hold it real close.
Well, you could find out by getting your Labo software, loading it on your Switch, and looking with your Joy-Con.
You can actually. I mean, no, it's clear enough. I messed around with that a little bit when I played with the little car thing because you can make it heat sensitive or whatever. It has it uses the infrared camera and you can have it follow an object or whatever. So yeah, if you look on the screen, you see like a predator vision version of the not really, but just kind of the green night vision kind of looking view. And yeah, it would be clear enough to read a QR card from 6 inches or a foot away, I would think. They could theoretically do camera stuff still with some of those things. Even AR to some degree.
Or what if they release the Joy-Con regular camera? A separate Joy-Con you can buy separately that actually just has a real camera.
I could see, you know what, if the Switch, if they weren't in this lull right now where they're kind of leaving the Switch out to die, I could see them having done that if they really had kept their momentum.
Or what if they sold you a left Joy-Con that had a camera that faced the back and it wasn't even a Joy-Con, it was just a camera that was shaped like a Joy-Con so it could snap in, you could hold it up and view whatever's on the screen that's in the lens and then take pictures with the A button. The Nintendo Switch camera. It's kind of shaped like a camera anyway.
Hey, they made a Game Boy camera. This is not without precedent.
They could do stuff like that. We got all kinds of bad ideas, Nintendo.
Better than your bad ideas.
They could even AR.
It's better than some of the stuff that's made, like.
That's what I mean. Yeah, these are better bad ideas than Nintendo's bad ideas. And Nintendo's had a lot of bad ideas.
It could transmit data through Bluetooth, and then you could probably do augmented reality games with it. More games, more fun. More money.
Put it on all those unsold Joy-Cons. By the way, speaking of Joy-Cons, this wasn't in the news, but we got some new information on the Super Mario Party.
Okay, Japan.
Yeah, in Japan, it's going to come with 1 pink and 1 yellow Joy-Con.
Oh.
So what we know is they've got way too many pink Joy-Con. Was it Europe that's getting the green and pink?
Yeah.
So now Japan's getting yellow and pink.
Now that said,
getting nothing.
The neon colors are popular in Japan in general, so I could just see them picking 2 random neon colors and saying, "Here you go. These are your Mario Party
neon
colors."
straw nana.
But that also indicates they're not just pumping out all these colors like we thought they were going to.
No,
or at least I thought they were going to.
Yeah, I thought they would have like logos, like Triforce logos.
Yeah, we'd have Mario exactly.
All kinds of crap.
None of that really. They just have a set of colors.
Yeah.
And that's that.
The thing is, I don't think Joy-Con are as hot of sellers as they think they were going to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially at that price point, that's not really like, oh, I mean, it is for you guys, for Z and Max, but for the common man.
No, man. Z and Max split the 2-packs so that we could get a deal.
Yeah.
Well, that because it was the only way to get just a single one of each of those colors. But I wasn't going to spend
more than Jason and myself have done.
Yeah.
And Jason uses his Joy-Con every day.
That's right.
I guess Max does too.
Oh, were you talking about me and you splitting a pack?
Yeah, I said we've never, because we'd both want the green.
I started to say, let me tell you how this split would work. Mo would say, I'm keeping the green ones and I'll send you these pink ones. You don't care. And then Max would say, pink is just a color.
That's true. She'd do it. I could convince her.
No, but I already... Wait, no, we didn't trade. Never mind. Do you have a pink one yet, Max? You didn't get a pink and green set yet? Oh, okay.
No.
So you could talk her into that maybe, Mo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really want Joy-Con. I'm fine with my blue and red neons
and your Pro controller.
Yeah, on my Pro controller, which I would be more likely to buy another Pro controller. I did see, I think Amazon now has started selling Pro controller cases, which I've had my Pro controller all taken apart, so I could easily do that. But they've got them in like the Nintendo 64, like translucent purple and teal or whatever they were,
Oh, cute.
the see-through colors, you know.
Oh.
So it was maybe green. I don't know if they've got the jungle DK jungle green or not, but
That
I
would
was
be,
like, yeah. If I wanted to customize, I could. But yeah,
I
I
think a
think
lot
I'd
of
be
people
more
would do it. You know, on the note of why they didn't sell as many Joy-Con as they thought, they really, really, really are trying to get motion controls to take off again since Wii Sports.
Yeah.
They just won't give up. They won't give up on it. And I you know, I like it. I find it fun to have a different control scheme. Those were always my favorite games in the arcade as a kid, right? The ones that had some big thing that you had to stand in to play
Yeah.
it, right?
Well, they still, I mean, Mario Party will not work with a Pro controller. There was another game. Oh, The World
Yeah,
Ends
there you
With
go.
You. The World Ends With You, I
Yeah.
think they just said will not work with Pro controller. It's Joy-Con
Yeah.
and touchscreen only. And if you're in handheld, you have to play it touchscreen.
And to a certain degree, I can understand the logic with Mario Party. But I don't know. It also sounds like maybe something to try to drive people to buy more Joy-Cons. But right, arms
Yeah.
fell flat. Nobody cares about using the motion controls for Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I don't. And that was the thing about arms is I think they were really hoping, yeah, this is going to be a hit. This is going to take off, and everybody's going to want 4 or 8 Joy-Cons just right off the bat. And hell no, that didn't happen. But that's me ranting about Joy-Cons.
I will say though, you
Yeah.
commented about The World Ends With You having the restricted control modes. That really is something to think about. I don't know that I want to use my finger on the touchscreen to play especially a RPG style game.
Is there a
Yeah.
like a mapping? Is there a way to do that on the big screen with the Joy-Con to simulate
Well,
the
it's
touchscreen
pointer.
stuff?
It's pointer control.
Yeah, that'll suffice. You know, Wii style pointer controls will do the job in lieu of a touchscreen for stuff when you put it in the dock. I thought that was kind of how everything would work from the get-go. I thought there would be all sorts of games when we first heard about it. I was sure there would be all sorts of games that would use the touchscreen, but then when you put it in the dock, you just use Wii style pointer controls. And so far, I have not seen that at all. I figured that'd be like part of the OS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I figured I'd be able to navigate the menu via Wii style pointer controls when I was sitting on the couch, and not so.
That would be a nice update to add something like that. But
Yeah, I mean, especially once you
Yeah.
start getting Netflix and stuff again, like, dude, that was like a huge selling point for Wii Netflix back, you know, in the kind of gray area between CRTs and HD TVs. Right when it wasn't as big a deal that the Wii was in HD, that was a big selling point. Was that navigation on Netflix was so great with that pointer remote, and none of the other consoles had it. You still had to click through menus and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. As we know, Nintendo's disorganized and disjointed.
yep.
Maybe that'll come with paid online.
Yeah. I think it's gone away, never to return, but that to me would be a selling point for paid online.
Why would they bundle it with the online? No, I think we'll see some games. We'll probably see a lot of indie games like that have the pointer control. And if they want to start trying to bring 3DS games or adapt stuff like that, you know, they might use that.
Well, that was the point with The World Ends With You, is that was how it was played on the DS. So they're just staying true to the original playstyle, which is
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is there's still
Cutscene.
hope for WarioWare for Wii U to come to the Switch.
There is always hope for WarioWare to come to the Switch.
Thank God. That's the one I'm waiting on. And the Pikmin HD trilogy.
Yes. Pikmin 4. Where in the world is Pikmin 4? But anyway.
3DS version killed it. It killed all interest in Pikmin.
I think it did. No one has been begging for that game since the 3DS version. It's like, this is what we get when we
The
ask for
sad thing is,
Pikmin.
if they now you know what it would have happened had they actually made a mobile Pikmin game. It would have been the 3DS game.
It's true. In a lot of ways, it feels like a mobile game.
It feels exactly like it. Boy, I still have never gone back and finished that for some reason. Any hoodles.
Anyway. Alright, well, before we close out tonight, we are getting a bit long. I know Z has been doing some extensive work on his NES and Super NES minis. And he's been getting some pretty wild stuff onto them. And I'll just let him explain what all he's done.
Like Bubble Bath Babes.
Yeah, for example. It's right. And we've all heard about people hacking these things from the get-go. And so this is not going to be news to a lot of people. But I know, for example, one of the friends of the podcast mentioned, in chatting with us the other day about being paranoid about not wanting to touch the unit, keeping it, pristine. And I felt the same way for a very long time. Like, I had the Super Nintendo one for a long time. I finally got the NES one when it got reissued. And I sat on them for a really long time before I decided, all right, I'll start looking into this. And the more I read about it, the easier it sounded and the safer it sounded. And so I finally went for it. And now that's pretty much all I've been spending all my free time doing the past few weeks. And
Not
it's
playing it, just modding it. Oh.
Honestly, yeah, like playing it well, maybe not surprisingly, but playing it very little, spending way more time modding it and downloading the box art and really, like, it's been this nostalgia trip of discovering all these classic things like that. Legality of ROMs aside, there's a lot of things that are in now like a legal gray area as far as licensing goes. Like, nobody really owns these things anymore. They're old, defunct companies that once had a console that tried to compete with Atari or whatever. And so all these ROMs are out there and arguably public domain, at least in the fact that nobody's really, nobody's out there claiming the licenses for these. So your mileage may vary on licenses, and it's your business how and where you get them. But as far as putting them on your NES or Super NES Mini, it's stupid simple, because it's been around a couple years now. So people have just written utilities on the internet that it's click, your Mini is now hacked. Click, open your folder, add your ROMs, and you're done. And now your Mini has more games on it, and not again just NES or Super NES games, but I mean, the last couple of things I got running on this thing were Game and Watch and these weird Pokemon mini units that came out. These little handheld, they look like mini Game Boys, and they only apparently ever made a couple dozen cartridges for them, if that. But there's emulators for all these things available, and they all run on the minis surprisingly well. I mean, there's even emulators for N64 and higher end consoles. I have not messed around with those yet myself, but they're there. They're available to load up on your Mini and then load up some N64 ROMs and see how they go. I can speak to all of the weird old obscure consoles I've found. Like, some take a little more finagling to get working than others, but anything Nintendo, pretty much you just drop in and it runs. The minis each run a proprietary in-house developed emulator that Nintendo built, And apparently, in doing a lot of reading on this, apparently it is the same lineage as all the virtual console emulators that they've written for the previous consoles from the Wii on up. So the Wii, the 3DS, the Wii U have all used kind of a different variation of this same console emulator. For Super Nintendo, it's called Canoe, and for NES, it's called, I think, Kachi Kachi. But there's, people have written all sorts of patches for these. They've decompiled them. They've kind of reverse engineered them. They're now, you can download the official Nintendo emulator off of like GitHub and sites like that. So it's become kind of a really standardized piece of hardware, just like a RetroPie, where it's, everyone knows how to do it. It's a very, unified kind of operation. It's all run through RetroArch, which is a big deal in the emulation scene. It's kind of a global, universal emulation standard for any kind of console. And it's, again, I can't stress how easy and stress-free it is to do, and how much fun it is just to add more stuff. And, it'll download box art for you, et cetera, et cetera. There's every kind of customization option you could think of if you want to get that deep into it. On the flip side, if you just want to add a bunch of games to your console and that's that, and just not mess with anything else, just keep it as pristine as possible, just add more games, you can do that too. You can dig as deep into it as you want. You can hack all aspects of the thing, or you can just click, add more games, unplug it from your computer, and walk away, and it's, no harm. Oh, and there's a factory reset button in the app. At any time you start to get cold feet, you get paranoid, you just click the factory reset button. It just clears out everything. Everything that's part of the basic system is stored in a read-only protected area of the memory, so you can't screw it up. It's basically effectively impossible to brick the unit. From everything I've read and everything I've seen, it's effectively impossible to brick your unit, and you can always just revert it back to the original state whenever you want. So I'm trying, everybody I know that has any sort of inclination to get one of these things, I can't express it enough how much fun I've had with this and how worthy of an investment $60 is, I think. And that's the end of my rant. I know I just kind of went for a while, but
it's cooler than a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, man, Game & Watch emulator still blows my mind, that people actually did this stuff, but they run great. They're totally playable. All this stuff is, like I said, Intellivision ColecoVision I was messing with earlier before we got on the call, and I'm still kind of trying to get those working, but just about everything else I've thrown at it just has had no issue. Virtual Boy games I'm running on this thing. No problem.
Nice.
How many games do you have on there so far? On each one?
So the NES, and it's just, I won't say how many I have. I will say theoretically, the NES games take up about a mega piece on average, and you've got about 200 megs of space to work with, give or take, depending on what other mods and emulators you install. So you can squeeze a little over 200 Super Nintendo games. And you also have to leave some space for save files, right? The emulator has the ability to do save states, and the Super Nintendo one does a neat rollback feature where it can do replays and let you rewind. The NES one doesn't do that, but those all take up space, so you got to leave space for that. So you can squeeze, a couple hundred on the Super Nintendo, but again, NES games, those are like a tenth the size. So you can squeeze theoretically over 1,000 games on the thing. Wow. And again, if you want, right, ROM sites are what they are. Nintendo's shutting them down, but there may or may not still be tons out there that they're not shutting down that are very, very easy to find in a Google search away. And sure, you can load this thing up with 1,000 Nintendo games if you want, but right, we all know there's a lot of crap out there. So, like for mine, I've tried to build a curated list. Other people may not be as selective. But right, I also have stuff. I have tons of old obscure Vectrex console, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of.
I have not.
But right, weird old obscure consoles like that. Okay, I'll give a number. I'm at like 950 games. Yeah, it's, and I've still got space to squeeze on other weird, obscure, like the entire Intellivision collection is like a few megabytes. They're just microscopic.
Interesting.
But
I wonder if that's what's brought on all the ROM shutdown sites. Is Nintendo created this and it's like, look how
Nintendo
easy
has reinvigorated
this is.
the ROM stealing.
yeah, I mean, at first glance, you look at it and you go, "Wow, Nintendo just inadvertently created a monster here." But like the thing comes with a data cable. Like you know what I mean? The USB cable that you use to charge it just happens to be a very heavy gauge, thick shielded data cable. There's no reason for that to have been shipped with the unit. Nintendo very easily could have just included a power cable. It's all, you know what I mean? And then they've made it very easy to hack. Like you can get into this thing pretty simply by just like if you hold down the select button and the power button when you plug it into your PC, it basically boots into like an admin mode, and that's how the hackers gain access to it. And then they load a driver from there and you can do whatever you want. But it's like they made this thing. I can't imagine they did it unintentionally, like they were really stupid and just made this thing as easy to hack as possible and even give you a tool to do it. I almost feel like the reason they included a data cable with it was as a wink, wink. Here you go nuts with the ROMs for now. And it's like an amnesty period, like Google said when they first announced Google Music. Oh, you can upload your first 10,000 songs and we won't rat you out to the recording industry or whatever. I think it's something, I almost feel like they're doing something like that, where they're just telling people, go ahead, go nuts with your ROMs, but wait till our online service comes out. Then you're really going to you're really going to want to pay $20 a year for this. But it's almost like Nintendo has figured out these games don't really have any value beyond marketing for their new games, right?
Right.
And they seems like they don't care. They're making a big show of shutting down some big ROM sites and trying to make examples, but they know that's a losing battle. It's a whack-a-mole out there, and I've found dozens of sites with this stuff. So it's it really feels like they're very secretly okay with this because they know only certain people will hack the units, and they're making a bet that the buzz out of those people hacking the units will end up selling more units ultimately than it hurts them in lost game sales, because they don't figure that they're gonna make a ton of money selling these games anymore anyway. That's, I assume, is their logic. But that's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise, another thing that fits into that, this thing came out 2 years later and they didn't fix it, right? They re-released the NES Classic 2 years later and didn't fix this hackability. It's still every bit as hackable as it was 2 years ago, and there has been a firmware update. It is a different, newer firmware. So people at first were like, uh-oh, they must have patched it out. Nope, they didn't do a thing. Completely still just as hackable as the old one. So they had the opportunity, they did update the thing, and they just didn't bother. So there's something going on where they're complicit in this, and I'm okay with that. But I've already talked about it for too long. I just got to say, run out and buy one and hack it, man. You won't regret it. I say that to everybody.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, if they're not going to give me the Disney Afternoon collection on Switch, I might just have to get it some other way. I don't know.
Theoretically, it's all there for the asking, man.
I've got it on actual NES. So.
And you've paid for it.
That's right. This is just me backing up my legitimate copies.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, I started from that mindset with this. I've got a shitload of old cartridges. As you guys know, I was going through my catalog, and it's just like, wow, like just those ROMs alone, I can cram that's hundreds of games I'm putting on here.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, everybody's gray area legality, comfort level is different. But if you already own these cartridges, is Nintendo going to come to your house and say, "Hey, can you owe us this money?" Or are they going to send you a letter? That's not going to happen. Sony might do that. Nintendo won't.
Yeah. Get him. Arg, matey.
Okay. Don't know where that
That
comes
said, don't steal, kids. It's bad.
That was my pirate impression.
Oh, I see.
You see what I did there?
I wasn't quite following that, yeah.
Yep, I think so. Alrighty. Well, it is time once again for us to wrap up. And we thank you again for tuning in and listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And of course, this is a pleasure to bring it to you. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at NOA_podcast and on YouTube on our Nintendo Open Air podcast page. And of course, you can listen in on Stitcher and iTunes and maybe watch us play at some point on Twitch. We do have a corrected name. It is NOA_podcast. So if you want to check us out, go there and see some of our Fortnite outings, which are always fun to watch.
Or just add us as a friend on there so we know who wants to watch or how many people are interested in watching.
Yeah, it's always good to know. If you
And
have
if we're
interest
missing
in
out
something,
by not streaming.
that's right. Yeah. If you have interest in something, or if there's something you have ideas for our program, let us know. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and hopefully see you soon. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Right.
Stay on, folks.